Hi, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I make videos about books. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. This is the start of another alphabet video. If you're new to my channel, I started the alphabet project back in 2021, I think. I honestly don't remember. So sorry, maybe 2020. Either way, the purpose of the alphabet project is to work on my own TBR. So I pick 6 books off of my 6 shelves that start with the letter of the alphabet. I am on P. So I'm going to show you the books that I am reading for P, and then we will go into the vlog. So the first one is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I'm so excited about this, and I picked P so long ago and completely forgot that I chose Pet Sematary, but it is about time that I read Pet Sematary. I know that this is like people's favorite of Stephen King, and I'm so excited to read this one. The next one is Playing the Palace by Paul Rudnick. I think this is almost like red, white, and royal blue, but I would like to see for myself. Like, even the cover looks like red, white, and royal blue. Like, this looks like Alex and this looks like Henry, but I'll let you know. Next one is The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. I have read 2 Paul Tremblays and have not liked either of them. I picked this one specifically to get it off my shelves. Either way, I'm either gonna love it or I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna keep it or I'm gonna give it away. And this is the only Paul Tremblay I have left on my shelf, and that is why I picked this one. Get rid of it or to keep it to actually like Paul Tremblay. So this is an experiment, really. The next one is The Paris Connection by Lorraine Brown. I picked this one because I really know nothing about it, and once again wanted to read it and either love it or get it off my shelves. Like, that is it. Next one is Partners in Crime by Alicia Rye. I did read one of Alicia, it's Ray or Rye? I can't remember what it's called, but it has a pink cover, and I thought it was pretty good, but I haven't read anything else by her, and this is her newest one, so I'm pretty excited for this one. And the last book is completely out of my comfort zone, and I almost chose it for an out of my comfort zone video that is coming out at some point, but I chose it for this one instead, and I am very nervous about that, and that is Pachinko by Mi Jin Lin. I'm so nervous for this one, like absolutely terrified, but it's on my shelves. Like, I don't necessarily want to unhaul it without giving it a chance, even though it is out of my comfort zone. So we will be trying it. I am pro DNF, so you know, could be that. But these are the 6 books that I am reading for P. Roll the vlog. So I started Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. In my introduction, I said that this was Paul Tremblay's last chance because I haven't liked any of his books. I've read A Head Full of Ghosts and The Cabin at the End of the World, and now, of course, this. So in this, we're reading a manuscript of someone's autobiography, Art Barbara, which is not his real name, and then we are getting notes from his friend in the margins about their experience together, and I DNF'd this 46% in. So I didn't mark it down as completed or read. I just put it down on Goodreads as a DNF. I hated this book, and let me tell you why. Because we are just getting the sad story of a sad white man, and I could not listen to it anymore. I only made it 46% in, and I had over 50% to listen to, and I was not going to do that to myself. Paul Tremblay can fuck off, because I don't like any of his books, and I'm not, like, I looked at reviews before I DNF'd. I always do that, and Katrina from Katrina Brown gave it 5 stars, and she said it was amazing. And so did Kayla from Books and Lala. Like, all these people I really respect gave it 4 and 5 stars. And that is just not where I am. So this was a DNF, and I will not be buying any more Paul Tremblay. It is just not going to happen, no matter how good they sound. It is just like, we are cut off from Paul Tremblay. So that's it. DNF the Pallbearers Club. Like I thought I would. So at least now I know. I am 84 pages into Pet Sematary. I'm so excited about this. I'm listening to the audiobook, and Stephen King does an introduction from the year 2000. This was published in 83, and he said that, in his opinion, this is his scariest novel. Like, this actually genuinely scared him after he, like, listened to or read it after he put it away for 6 months after he was done writing it. Lewis and his family have moved from Chicago to Maine, and Lewis is like an infirmary director at the local college there. And in their new property, they have a pet cemetery, and it is creepy. So on Lewis's very first day of work, this kid gets run over by a car and dies. And where I am, he, like, that night the kid died, Lewis thinks he's like sleepwalking to the pet cemetery, but is it that kid's ghost? I don't know, but it's good, and it is pretty creepy so far, and I'm only 84 pages in, so I'm really liking this. I am 66% into Pet Cemetery, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. The thing is, this has to do with the death of a child, and I do not feel like that is a spoiler because I haven't read this and I haven't seen the movie, but like even I know that there is a death of a child in this book, and it is rough. I feel like Gage is probably same age as my youngest Theo, so it just kind of like hits home for me. And normally I don't care about reading stuff like that because like I get that it's fiction, but just like the way Stephen King writes it, it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. So that's where I am. Gage has died, and so now the pet cemetery is being brought up again where I am. I'm listening to the audiobook, of course, and Michael C. Hall from Dexter is reading this. One of the best audiobooks I have listened to in a very long time. The way Michael C. Hall is just putting his whole Michael C. Hall Tussie into this, like, incredible. I am having such a good time reading this, and I was following along, and I feel like I don't even have to follow along anymore because I'm just so engaged in this audiobook. He's doing a great job. I'm only 66% into this, right? Like my favorite Stephen King is 11/22/63, and I feel like something major would have to happen for 11/22/63 to be knocked out of the top spot. But I feel like this can knock it out of the second spot. Like, that's how good it is already. And I knew I was going to like this, but I didn't think I would be like obsessed with this. But literally anytime I start Stephen King, I usually become obsessed with it. Like, I just love Stephen King. I don't care that he writes gibberish sometimes. Like, it just really works for me. So I'm having a great time with this. It's devastating and scary. Like, grief horror really works for me. I really like it. I finished Pet Sematary last night. I'm listening to it and I'm just like sitting on the couch and I'm just going like this for the last like listening speed, like 20 minutes. It was nuts. So this is such a slow burn, and that is kind of how I feel like Stephen King is. Like, everything is so slow, like he really eases you into the story, and then the last, I don't know, 75 pages are just off the wall, and that's how this one is. And I do think that this was really scary. Like, the things that happened in the last 75 pages of this book, I was just like, what is happening? So I really enjoyed this one. Give it 5 stars in my Goodreads review. The only thing I said was fucked up, because this was really fucked up. And I asked my Patreon Discord, because I know there's 2 movies. There's the 1989 movie and there's the 2019 movie. And I asked which one I should watch, if I should watch it, and they said to watch the older one. So I will be watching the 1989 movie, A Pet Cemetery, at some point. I don't normally watch adaptations, but I always try to watch the Stephen King ones because, like, how can you not? Like, my first introduction to Stephen King was watching the older movie of Carrie when I was like 14. So like, I feel like I should watch it. I feel like watching the part with Gage and the truck is going to be really hard, but it is something I do want to try. Anyway, I really liked Pet Sematary. 5 stars. I knew I was gonna like it, but Stephen King himself saying that he thinks that this is his scariest book, like, really tells you something, and I do think it was scary. Like, 11/22/63 is not scary. It's mostly sci-fi and romance. It is like a cosmic horror, but it's so long. I do think it is scary, but like I do think the ending with the kids, if you know, you know, does take away from like what this is about, because but this one I do think is scary. I am 38% into Playing the Palace by Paul Rudnick. First, I would like to talk about the audiobook. It's one narrator, but we're also following just one point of view, which is Carter's. But this narrator is so good. He literally has so many voices. Like, the prince is British and has a great voice for that. The prince has lots of security guards, has different British accents for all these security guards. I'm having a great time with this audiobook. Like, one of the best narrators I've listened to in a while. Absolutely love that. Okay, so we're following Carter, who is a gay, Jewish New Yorker. Well, technically he's from New Jersey, but lives in New York now. And he does like event planning. And he meets Prince Edgar, who is openly gay and the next in line for the crown, at a United Nations event. And they hit it off kind of right away. And Edgar keeps seeking out Carter. And I'm 100 pages in, and so much has happened. Carter seems to be very, very insecure in this relationship because he feels like he isn't good enough to be with Prince Edgar, which I get, but also Prince Edgar has a lot going on as well. He is openly gay, but that's a lot of pressure being the next in line for the crown, and it hasn't been talked about, but I feel like most people have accepted it, and it like the queen hasn't cared or anything, which is cool. Now, I would like to talk about the comparisons to Red, White, and Royal Blue. Basically, the only comparison is that the prince is gay. I don't feel like the characters are like the characters in Red, White, and Royal Blue. Carter is not anyone famous like Alex Claremont Diaz is in Red, White, and Royal Blue. So there are a lot of differences. I feel like this gets compared to Red, White, and Royal Blue because of Prince Edgar. But I am going in trying to keep an open mind, and I don't want to try to look at all the comparisons because obviously this was published for a reason, and I don't want to be like, oh, this is just a Red, White, and Royal Blue knockoff and leave it at that. I'm not going to do that. I don't think that's fair. There have been a couple parts that have been really, really funny, and I have laughed. I will say that I put this as currently reading on Goodreads, and this has a very low rating in my opinion. It has a 3.32 or 3.23. Either way, it's low. And I do feel like it's because of the comparison to Red, White, and Royal Blue. But once again, I will not be trying to do that while I am reading it, and I will wait until I finish the book. So right now I'm gonna say it's nothing special. It has been a little bit funny, but I'm just dealing with these two men who are both very insecure in themselves and then with each other, which I feel like would be normal dating anyone pretty famous. So that's what I'm feeling now. This is an extremely short book, which is great for me. But I would say overall, you know, I'm having a good time. I am 73% into this. Okay, here's the issue with it that I think. I don't think that this is a bad book. I just think that these two characters have absolutely no chemistry. Which really sucks because I like both of these characters by themselves, but together, like, I don't feel it. So, like, Prince Edgar, I think, I read this yesterday, I don't know, said, "I love you" to Carter, and Carter, like, loves Edgar too, but, like, I personally don't feel the chemistry between these two characters, and I think that's what the issue is. Like, yeah, it's funny and all this stuff, and like they are dealing with serious things with homophobia and stuff, but like I don't buy that these characters actually like each other. So yeah, I'm gonna finish it right now, but I feel like it's gonna be a solid 3-star book, which there's nothing wrong with that. But also, I don't think there should be so much hatred towards this just because it's make-believe red, white, and royal blue, but also, like, I understand too, but like I don't understand like deep hatred either. I finished Playing the Palace and I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I, of course, before I came here and did this, looked at 1-star reviews, 1 and 2-star reviews. The 1-star reviews were brutal. They were like, literally the worst book I've ever read. Cannot believe this got published. All of that, and this is not the worst book I have ever read. Is it the best book I've ever read? Not by far, but absolutely not the worst book that I have ever read. I am thinking of several books right now that are way worse than this one in my opinion, and this was, I think it was lacking heart. It was definitely lacking chemistry, but it was also lacking heart. So 3 stars for this. I will be unhauling it. This copy, I have no idea where I got this, but it's a mess. You can't see, but it's like falling apart here, and I'm never gonna be able to sell this. Maybe I'll just put in my free little library. Anyway, 3 stars for this. I'm glad I read it and got it off my shelf, but like nothing special. Okay, so I'm gonna be quite honest with you. This is next on my list to read for P. I can't do it. The reason this video hasn't come out in 4 months is because I did not want to read this book, but like I thought I had to read this book, but I don't have to read any book that I want to read, and I don't want to read this book. It might be the best book that I have never read, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by not reading it. I returned the audiobook, so I never have to look at it again. I'm gonna unhaul this. I can't do it. I'm sure that this book is so good, but I'm not into historical fiction like that, and it's so big, it's really intimidating me. And like I said, I have been putting off this video because I didn't want to read this book specifically, even though like I bought this book and I picked this book specifically for this video. So I will not be picking out another book. I'm just not gonna read this book, and I'm gonna continue on with my other books, but like I can't do this, and I will not do this. And once upon a time I thought I wanted to read this, but I don't want to read this, so I will not be reading this. I'm gonna unhaul it. I know that this book has such good reviews, but I just simply don't want to read it, so I'm not gonna read it. So I've never done this before for this video. I have at least attempted a book, but I'm not gonna do that. 26% into The Paris Connection by Lorraine Brown. This honestly is fine. This doesn't feel super original, which is also fine. But we were following Hannah, who is on her way to Amsterdam from Italy on a train, and she's like with her boyfriend, and she moves up to the front of the train to sleep because it's really loud where she is, and the train like separates, like it's a thing that happens, and the front side of the train is going to Paris, and where her boyfriend is going to Amsterdam. So now she's stuck in Paris. The part where I am now is that she is just like chilling in the train station because the next train doesn't leave for 6 hours, and it's just like a series of unfortunate events, basically. It reminds me of, oh, hold on. Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Madsen, except European and adult. So there's her boyfriend who she is like kind of complaining about, like they don't seem compatible, I guess. Like every time she talks about him, it's like I just know they're not gonna end up together, because there is this French guy who she keeps running into, who also, I'm assuming it's this guy, who also got on the wrong train or was on the split train or whatever, so he's also trying to get to Amsterdam. So I think it's just going to be a series of unfortunate events book, which, if I'm being quite honest with you, are not my favorite. Madsen, who is one of my favorite authors ever, who I just mentioned, her last 2 books that I read, Save the Day and Take Me Home Tonight, were like were like that, where like everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and I honestly did not like either of them that much. So we'll see how this goes. It's literally so short, so I'm liking it. It's just like not the best. I don't know. Hello, this book is a little boring, which is fine. Listen, I have 30% left. That's nothing. I'm gonna finish it. I know exactly how this will end, and that's also fine. But like, this is not groundbreaking, and that kind of sucks. It's just like, it's written fine. I'm not in love with Hannah. Like, she is 30, which being someone who is 33 is not old, but like, she is very insecure. Like, she feels like it feels like I'm reading a YA book. Like, it feels like I'm reading Anna, what's that called? Anna? It feels like I'm reading Anna and the French Kiss. Like, that's exactly what this feels like. It feels like Anna and the French Kiss, except Hannah is 30. And that is not a compliment, because Anna and the French Kiss is just like Hannah, but Hannah is 30 and Anna is 15. Hannah and Anna. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand that I'm confused? It's like this author was like, let me make Anna and the French Kiss, but for 30-year-olds. But she forgot that Hannah was supposed to be 30. So I guess I'm not liking it. So like, it's going to be 3 stars, and that's fine. I'm not going to keep it. It's a book that I have read, and that's fine. But like, the whole time I was listening to the last 40% that I just listened to, I was just like, this is Anna and the French Kiss, which I will die on this hill and say that that book is a YA literary masterpiece. And this is not. Also, I was reading it. I read every night from like 7 to 9. And it was 8 o'clock, and it was putting me to sleep. Like, I can't go to bed at 8 o'clock. This book should not be putting me to sleep at 8 o'clock. Ugh. I finished The Paris Connection. I just found out that this was originally titled Uncoupling, but I think The Paris Connection is better. Anyway, last night when I did my last check-in of this, I was angry about it, and that happens to me a lot. Like, books make me angry, especially when I think they could be better. But I did end up liking the end of this one a lot, but I'm still only going to give it 3 stars. But like, the ending did make me really happy. I just felt like overall this book will not be memorable for me, and it did give me Anna and the French Kiss vibes, which is fine, because Anna and the French Kiss is a great book. Anyway, so 3 stars for this. I will be unhauling it. Like, I'm glad I read it. It was an overall easy read, and I'm glad I finally got it off my shelves at least. So 3 stars for The Paris Connection. I am 27% into Partners in Crime, and we are following Mira and Naveen, who are exes, and they get together because Naveen is a lawyer, and Mira's aunt just died, and she has left Mira something, and it is a chance encounter, and they are not happy to see each other. And then they get kidnapped. So what's happening is Mira's father is a con man, and he's looking for this necklace. So like, his people have kidnapped her sister. It's crazy. Like, this is not something I would normally read. Like it's too action movie-y. That's not really my jam, even if it turns out to be a romance. Yeah, so there's that. But then there's also the thing where I'm 104 pages in, and Alicia Rai has used pregnant pause 3 times, and it makes me uncomfortable. Like, why would you use that particular phrase? 3 times. Ugh. I don't know. But I don't like it. Honestly, this is fine so far. Like I said, it's not like something I would pick up for myself normally. I actually got this through my local bookstore through their book club, and I picked it for the alphabet project because I was like, I don't think I would ever read this by myself, but since like I paid for it and it was sent to me, I should read it for the alphabet project. This could be a DNF. I'm not really sure. Like, it's just like, I'm not really into action romances except for Speed. Y'all know Speed? Speed is fucking great. Anyway, but we'll see. It's just like a little cheesy. I'm going to be very for real with you right now. I read this once already, and I was listening to it without the book in front of me, and I was listening to it at 2 times speed, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this another chance because I think like I'm not processing this. So I decided to delete all of my footage for this, which was like 3 videos long, and completely start over. I've never done this before, but I wanted to give it a fair shot with the book in front of me, and it turns out I should have just kept it DNF'd. I DNF'd it last time at 50%. I'm DNFing it this time at 52%. It's just a DNF. Like, it is not a good book, okay? And let's talk about it. In the less than 200 pages that I read, she said pregnant pause 5 times. What the fuck? This heist or whatever takes place in one day, and it's like, it feels like the longest one day of my entire life. Like, the pacing is just not working for me. I was reading along and I had gotten to the same part where I DNF'd before, and I wanted to make sure, so I checked to see I was at 52%, and I was like, no, it's not me, it's the book. The book is not good. So this is a DNF. I should have DNF'd it the first time, should have stuck with my instincts. I wanted to give this another try because I really thought it was me just not comprehending what was happening, but actually what the book is about is boring and dumb. So that's my confession. This is actually my second try with this book, and I DNF'd it at the same point twice. So technically I read 100% of this book, 102% of this book. So I will be marking this down as completely read, and I will be unhauling it. So that's it for P. I have been working on P. What month is it? I've been working on P since May, I think. It's been a time. So my next clip will be a wrap up. I'm here to wrap up P. P did not go well. P also took me months, and I hate myself for that. You can hear my kids, that's my life. Okay. Partners in Crime, I DNF'd twice, 2 times. It's not a good book. I did not like it. I'm not sure if I would pick up something by this author again because I read The Right Swipe, I think that's called, and I only gave that 3 stars. So I like a pregnant pause. How many times do you have to say pregnant pause in your book? Ugh. The only book that I am keeping is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This really did scare the shit out of me. That last couple of pages, disgusting in a great way. And I really like this cover. It's super old. This is like from the 80s, which is older than me, so that's good. Next is The Paris Connection, which I gave 3 stars to. I will not be keeping. This was honestly okay, and that's fine. Next is Pachinko, which I did not read. This is the whole reason. This book is the reason that this video is so late, because I shouldn't have even put it on my wish list. Someone got this for me from my wish list. It was very nice, but I'm not gonna read it. Next is Playing the Palace. This was okay, 3 stars. Definitely different than Red, White, and Royal Blue, but not my favorite. And last but not least is Pallbearers Club, which I also DNF'd. Absolutely hate Paul Tremblay. I will not be reading any more Paul Tremblay. Pen Tremblay? Paul Tremblay can suck it. So that's it for P. It did not go well, and that is fine. Next is Q. I think I have 2 books for Q. So that's it. Thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one. Bye!
Losing time, I'm fading fast.